I'm back from Cleveland. It took a while through Phoenix last night. COVID means that there's no direct flight back to the Bay Area, but I am excited to be home. And I'm excited that it's sunny outside because I understand that while I was gone, did I just say I'm back from Cleveland? I'm back from Cincinnati. Different, wrong city in Ohio, but I'm back. Happy to be in the Bay Area. Happy that it's sunny here and happy that I missed the rain yesterday, or at least most of it. Landed back at SFO, and boy, it was coming down. Atmospheric river. I guess that's good for the snow. It's good for my dad, who's a farmer back in the Central Valley. So it's good that this state's getting some rain, but it seems that it always just comes at once with these deluges from the sky. Anyway, this is how excited I am about this week. Just look at Arden Key. I think he symbolizes my excitement after this play against the Bengals. Gets up. That's how I'm running to work today, even though I work from home. One more time. We're going to be talking some 49ers defensive line here today. Brief little show, get us reset for Tuesday. That is just an overwhelming pass rush from the 49ers through the interior, through the exterior, whichever way you want it. I think Chris Kacerek has finally gotten to a point where he's having some fun with the machinations of this 49ers defensive line. So that's the point that I'm going to get to a little bit later. But as you can see, as I scrub through this one a little bit more slowly, Cincinnati didn't have a good offensive line. The 49ers made them pay. And guess what? The next two O-lines of the 49ers face, maybe the next three, they're not very good either. So this 49ers defensive line is building steam, gaining confidence, beginning to do some work. And it's thanks a lot to what they've developed on the interior. As you can see right here, the 49ers got Arden Key working against the left guard. No chance. Athleticism blows them away. Sansom Ebukam won against right tackle. Riley Reef had a bad game, and they had to bring in Isaiah Prince because of an injury. And everybody won here. And then obviously Nick Bosa wins regardless of who he faces, even if it's a double team. So this 49ers defensive line is finding its stride, and then they're high stepping their way into the week. So we will discuss that in a little bit, but there are a few talking points that I wanted to hit. And this is the first one as we update the 49ers. I figured this would be a good series to start on Tuesdays, the 49ers Tuesday Talk, just because it's laundry day in the NFL. This is the day that we reset after these long road trips, get to do our laundry, get to unpack our bags, and get ready for the next week. So the cycle will just continue, but this cycle will only last 4 more games in this regular season. And point one is that only a disaster would keep the 49ers out of the playoffs now. That was a huge win in Cincinnati, and it was very important that the 49ers notched a split of the 2-game road trip to Seattle and then to Cincinnati. That split, very big because, let's be honest, in this modern age of NFL parity, and parity's existed for a while, but it's at a different crazy level this season. It's going to be hard to win every single game, especially on the road. So realistically speaking, when the 49ers entered that Seattle-Cincinnati road trip, you really wanted to have one, right? 2 was probably a little bit aggressive, especially given some of the inconsistency we've seen from the 49ers specifically this season. Lo and behold, they suffered a special teams catastrophe against Seattle, but then Cincinnati suffered a special teams disaster against them. So it ended up evening out, and the 49ers obviously were clutch to finish that game against the Bengals. So they get 1 out of 2. They've won 3 out of 4. They've won 5 out of 7. This 49ers team is trending in the direction that you want it to trend if you're a 49ers fan. And at this point, only a disaster would keep them out of the playoffs. Why? Well, because Atlanta is next on the schedule. They're not a good football team. Then comes Tennessee. Tennessee is overrated. I think, efficiency-wise, they haven't been as good as their record. And they've started to regress a little bit to the mean. But that's going to be a really, really tough game for the 49ers, just logistically. Short week, travel cross-country, prime time for the Titans. They're going to want to circle the wagons and rally in that game. So that one's tough. Let's not discount that. And it's also 2 games in 10 days for the 49ers. But after the Titans come to Texans, and they're also bad. And then after that come the Rams in week 18. They're obviously good. We saw what happened on Monday night. But the overarching point is that the 49ers have 2 extremely winnable games in their last 4. And if the 49ers have any shot of, going the distance this season, making noise in January, they need to beat the Falcons, who are terrible, and they need to beat the Houston Texans, who aren't good at home. And the Falcons, this is something I'm going to skip forward to point number 3. They're number 32 in efficiency this year. They might be 6-7, but these guys have only won one possession games. They've been blown out plenty of times. This is a perfect opportunity for the 49ers to go for an early knockout, rest some guys, get ready for Thursday night in Tennessee. So don't, every season, every team is different. In 2019, the Falcons were actually number 15 in DVOA when they came into Levi Stadium, upset a better 49ers team. So obviously, anything is possible. This 49ers team isn't as good as 2019. We know that. But that 2019 team was injured, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So that wasn't the top defense when the 49ers played Atlanta. And don't look at that record. Look at the fact that Atlanta has been number 29 offense, number 30 defense, number 30 special teams. This is not a good Falcons team. They're dead last in DVOA. This 49ers team should rout this Falcons team. They cannot afford to play down to the level of their competition. But big picture means that only a disaster, which would mean losing to the Falcons, losing to the Texans, one or the other. That's the kind of thing that could keep the 49ers out of the playoffs now. But you go 2-2 over these last 4, even if you lose to Tennessee and you lose to the Rams, you're probably okay if you're the 49ers. But I do think that they have what it takes to go at least 3-1 over these final 4. So we'll see. Given everything, 49ers Cardinals is the most likely wild card pairing after last night. How quickly things change. We were talking about either 49ers Buccaneers, 49ers Packers, or if the 49ers got lucky, if the Rams were to slip a little bit, which they obviously didn't do on Monday night, we were talking 49ers Cowboys, right? 5 seed against that 4 seed. Well, all of this is fun speculation right now, but with 4 games left to play, a lot can change quickly, and that happened with the Rams looking very impressive against Arizona on Monday night. Arizona is now out of that number 1 seed. They're at number 3, and they're most likely to end up at number 3, although, again, we still have 4 games to go. A lot can change. The 49ers, meanwhile, are most likely to end up at number 6. That would mean a trip to the desert for the wild card round, 49ers and the Cardinals. So as we enter these final 4 games, just something to keep your mind out for, because this maneuvering is going to be interesting as far as playoff chances go. I don't think anybody wants to head to Green Bay in January and face 10 to 12 degree or even negative 2 degree weather, right? I don't think anybody wants to play Tampa Bay because Tampa Bay is a very good and balanced team. But something tells me that the 49ers wouldn't mind facing the Arizona Cardinals, especially the version that we saw last night in January. That's the least proven team out of this entire bunch, right? And you could talk all you want about the Big 12 offense for Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray and the fact that they have some defensive injuries, but just the overarching fact of the matter is that Arizona hasn't been there before. The 49ers have been there before. And I think that if you're the 49ers, you'd most rather face a team in the postseason that hasn't been there before. That'd be Arizona. But again, it's really early. So let's not get carried away. Let's just keep this as a Tuesday update. At this very moment, 49ers Cardinals is the most likely first round pairing based on the probabilities, based on the team strength, efficiency, and all that. I already talked about point number 3. The Falcons aren't very good. Number 32 DVOA. This should be a game that the 49ers administer the knockout punch early if they do their job. Now, I'm not saying that the 49ers will do their job, but if they want to hold serve and continue marching toward those playoffs and hold the momentum of a big win, a dramatic win at Cincinnati, well, the 49ers will go out there and they will administer an early knockout punch to the Falcons because they have 2 games in 10 days coming up. Health is wealth. The 49ers would, be good to get out of Dodge early, right? And get out of their own home stadium early on Sunday and focus on that Tennessee game. And the good news is that the 49ers did come out of this Cincinnati game relatively healthy. Azeez Al-Shaair is only day-to-day with his elbow injury. That's big news because he's been playing really good football for the 49ers. So you probably see him come back either this week or Thursday against Tennessee. Dre Greenlaw, probably not. looks like the 49ers are going to nurse that injury now since it's been bothering him all season. Fred Warner has a low ankle sprain. They expect him back. Relatively clean injury sheet for the 49ers coming out of a brutally competitive overtime road win in chilly weather. That's something I thought I would never say, but you can knock on wood if you're a 49ers follower right now, and just hope that, I mean, this is the case with the entire league. You want everybody to be healthy. You want to see the best football possible, and the 49ers are looking relatively healthy coming out of that game. However, Dee Ford is unlikely to return. This is probably the most significant report from Monday. The deadline to activate Dee Ford from injured reserve is this week. The 3-week practice activation window is about to expire. Unfortunately, Dee Ford's back doesn't look like it's going to let him fire off that line of scrimmage for the 49ers this year. It's tremendously unfortunate, but anything that the 49ers did get from Dee Ford this season, they would consider to be found money after the back injury last year. And the 49ers did get some production from Dee Ford this year. They just don't expect him back this season. And we can talk about the cap implications and everything and the chances of him being on the 22 roster at a later date. Right now, we're focused on the now, and Kyle Shanahan doesn't expect Dee Ford back. But maybe the 49ers are surprised. Shanahan did point out that Dee Ford's back situation is super unpredictable, just tough at that, 250 pounds, exploding off the ball, getting down in that stance. Once that back is hurt, it's hard to heal it, especially to the extent to be able to do that over and over again on a football field. Finally, even though Dee Ford's not back, we can end up talking that 49ers defensive line. I know I started the show with this, and I'm going to end the show with this, but the 49ers, boy, are they happy to, and is Chris Kasarik happy to have his arsenal rounding into form. Take a look at this pass rush. Nick Bosa, far end, Arden Key, Sansom Ebukam on this far end, and then Eric Armstead on the inside. So that's a NASCAR package, right? 4 defensive ends for the 49ers in a pass-obvious situation. Arden Key right here destroys left guard with athleticism. Sansom Ebukam runs around Riley Reif with speed. Eric Armstead doesn't win here, but Eric Armstead also facing essentially 2 guys, although that's not an excuse. Nick Bosa, he faces the most double teams in the league, and Nick Bosa also strains past left tackle. 49ers defensive line overpowers Cincinnati's on this play. And the reason that I end with that clip is because that's some 2019 style stuff for the 49ers. And this defense is now ranked number 8 in the NFL. 49ers number 6 offense, number 8 defense. That is a balanced title-winning formula. Chris Kasarik's having fun because the interior of that defensive line is starting to figure things out, even though they don't have Javon Kinlaw anymore, even though they don't have DeForest Buckner anymore. And if that line plays that way, well, guess what? The 49ers can overcome cornerback injuries, and they can also start thinking about a deep run into January, because that was impressive what they did against the Bengals on Sunday. Anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this Tuesday update. It's time for me to go. I have a class to go teach, so I have to go see my journalism students at the College of Marin. Everybody take care. Leave a comment down below and make sure you subscribe. Bye now.